Hey guys, it's Alyssa with the Andrews Archives, and today we're going to be talking about our Vren, the Relentless Rat Horde deck. This is something that Dylan came up with. He's been wanting to build it for a while, and every deck that we've looked at has been really expensive, so sorry, I need to make this much cheaper. If you guys didn't know, we have 2 young kids at home, so anything we can do to save money, especially while deck building, is really important. This deck really focuses on flooding the board, punishing creature decks, and slowly overwhelming the table with all the rats that we are creating. This is a horror themed swarm deck that wins by volume, sacrifice, and making it impossible for your opponents to keep creatures. This is exactly the kind of style that Dylan loves, so I'm excited to share it with you. Now let's go ahead and get started with our commander, Vren. He rewards us for doing what rat decks already do, making lots of rats. So the more rats we control, the bigger our board's gonna get and the harder it is for our opponents to interact with what we're doing. This deck is not rushing to win, but it is building pressure after each turn until everybody just can't keep up with how many rats there are. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. This is going to be very helpful for us. We also, at the beginning of each end step, create X11 rat creature tokens with this creature gets +1/+1 for each other rat you control, where X is the number of creatures your opponents control that were exiled this turn. So the more rats we have, the more creatures we're going to be able to exile, the bigger our rats are going to become. You can kind of see where we're going with this, right? Now our game plan, we're making rat tokens, we're sacrificing rats for value, we're punishing everybody else for trying to play creatures. Our rats are really just getting out of hand. If your opponent is specifically relying on creature boards, this deck's probably going to be pretty miserable for them to play against. Now before we get into our rat horde, I know the deck's still really expensive with the link that I've shared, but those budget tips are coming. The first card I want to talk about here is something that I thought was very interesting, especially for Commander, where you can only have one of each card. This one gets around that. So we're looking at Relentless Rats here, and Relentless Rats gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield named Relentless Rats. So this could get out of hand. We can have any number of cards named Relentless Rats, and we chose to do 10 for our deck, but you can adjust that number however you see fit. The great thing about this one though is it's pretty cheap, it's scalable, and it's perfect for overwhelming the board. We also have cards in there like Marrow Gnawer, which doubles our rat output and gives our rats evasion with a tactic called Fear. If you don't know what this is, it allows our rats to only be blocked by artifact creatures and or black creatures. Hyper of the Swarm gives our rats menace. It also lets us create more rats, and it even lets us steal other creatures. Then we have Ochre Slumlord that ensures whenever creatures die, we just get more rats. Once these rats start multiplying, it's going to get out of hand fast. Now Dylan also wanted a lot of horror in this deck and some darkness, and this is kind of where this gets added in. We're running sacrifice punishment effects that make it almost impossible for opponents to keep creatures on the board. Dictate of Erebos is a big one here. For every rat that we have that's dying, we are making everybody else sacrifice a creature. Any type of board wipe or removal is really just going to hurt our opponents more, and it's going to make it harder for them to rebuild because our horde is just going to keep coming back. Now with a deck like this, we really want to make sure we keep our hand full, and we have some cards that help us with that. Species Specialist draws cards whenever rats die. We have Distant Melody that could draw 5, 6, 10 cards depending how many rats we have. We're also running consistent card draw like Phyrexian Arena. The goal is really simple. We just want every rat to either replace itself or draw us into more power. Now as far as mana and ramp for this deck goes, we are really leaning heavily into our black mana. I know we are Dimir here, but we really are focusing more on the black aspect. We have Cabal Coffers in here, which really lets us take advantage of using that black mana, and it can be very good for late game. We are running that with Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. It synergizes even more because it turns everything into a swamp in addition to its other types. We've also got the Soulstone in there for a mana rock and some other tribal ramp to make sure we've always got resources on hand. Before we get into our budget options, I want to talk about a placeholder I have in the deck. Right now, this card is Tangled Colony, and I want to switch it out for Rat King Verminister. This card has Disappear. At the beginning of our end step, we get to create 1/1 black rat creature tokens and put a +1/+1 counter on Rat King for however many permanents left the battlefield this time. We can also sacrifice 3 rats to return target creature card and all other cards with the same name of that card. This would be extremely helpful to return Relentless rats from the graveyard back to the battlefield. Let's look at the expensive card trade outs now. You're wanting to make it a little more budget friendly. We are going to offer some options. We already have a few of these cards that are a little bit more expensive, so I do want to talk about those as well because I doubt you have them laying around. If you do, please use those. They're going to be helpful. But if you don't, that's okay too. First card I'd trade out is Ancient Tomb. We actually have that one already, so I left it in there, but it is not needed. You can just trade it out with a Swamp, and that's going to synergize with some of your other cards in there. The next trade is Rhystic Study. Dylan actually pulled the Stay With Me from Final Fantasy, so that's what he uses a lot, and I would trade this out. Now, Soulstone, of course, is amazing. We were so lucky to be able to pull this, but we would trade this out with Vren Dynamo. You tap, you get 3 colorless. The next card is Ashcoat of the Shadow Swarm, and I would recommend leaving this one in here, but it is pretty expensive, so if you've got to trade it out, I'd go for Obelisk of HORDE. And what this card does is it allows us to convoke it in, so our rats can help pay for it, and as it enters the battlefield, we can choose rats, and those creatures get +2/+2. It's still a very good trade-off, but once again, I think Ashcoat should stay. The last 2 budget trades are Herborg and Cabal Coffers. They definitely synergize really well together, so if you take one out, I definitely take Herborg out. If you like horror, rats, sacrifice engines, and grinding the table into submission, this deck is for you. And if you like tribal decks that don't rely solely on combat, rats are really a great choice. Let us know down in the comments how you would build this deck. Would you lean harder into tokens? Would you go more combat? And are you going to add any more TMNT cards once the new set drops? Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe, and don't get overrun by the rat horde.